We could have burned through a lot of ammo.
Good afternoon, folks. You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be talking about some training exercises that are going to help maximize your time at the range. Some things that you can do to make each round count in terms of training value and in terms of helping those skills reach higher levels of proficiency. So we have talked about dry fire before. I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of that, but dry fire does have some limitations, namely your follow-up shots, things like that. Dry fire is great for learning presentation from the holster, learning how to present consistently if you have a red dot on your gun and things like that. But it comes time for things like trigger reset and follow-up shots. It has limitations, as well as the recoil impulse that you're not going to get. So we're going to save that discussion. If you want to check those videos out, they'll be in the description. But we're talking about live fire and making those rounds count. The ammo situation is not getting better anytime soon. I don't think. It has started to fix some of the availability, at least in my area. I'm seeing it more, but the prices are still extremely elevated. The demand is extremely high. The 2019 and back ammo availability is definitely not here. So even for myself, I've had to scale down the amount of shooting I've done and make those rounds count more. So without further ado, we're going to start off with a 6.42 drill. There'll be a link in the description where you can go to print these targets off at your own home or work if you can. Don't get in trouble on my account. But you can print these off. You don't have to pay for them at a gun store at those typical gun store target prices. So this is a 6.42 drill. 6 rounds in the center, 4 rounds in the medium-sized target, and 2 rounds in the smallest. The key to this is to shoot it as fast as you're comfortable doing it. As fast as you think you can make those shots, do it. So you have decreasing target sizes, which does play into it a little bit. We're going to start off here at 4 yards, and we may scoot back depending on how this goes. But without further ado, go ahead. We'll put it on the timer, and we'll talk more about timers here in a second, but here we go. Alright, so there we go. Took me 9.5 seconds to clear that. Let's see here. So here's what we ended up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And 5 and 6. Touching the line with a lot of disciplines, that counts as a hit. So I'm going to put another one up and we'll give it another go. But that's what we got. Alright, we'll give it another rep. Now ideally, this is obviously a 12 round drill. So it's most magazines, you're going to have to do a reload if you don't change your mag out for the next rep. So we're avoiding that today. I put a fresh mag in, but you can do that to spice it up some. But here we go. .34. So yeah, once I get a little warmed up, shaved over a second off of it. We'll go check the target for integrity's sake. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. So that's probably the best I've shot this drill in a long time. So that's going to be the 6.42 drill. The next drill I want to tell you about, if you're not already aware, is going to be the dot torture drill. Again, you can print this off at home. There'll be links in the description. This was developed by Todd Green. So this is a really cool one. Now this one is a little bit intensive in terms of ammo that you use for it. You have different numbers with different exercises. So number 1 is 5 shots slow fire. 2 is going to be draw on 1 shot times 5. 3 and 4 is draw 1 on 3, 1 on 4. Do that 4 times. 5 is draw, 5 shots strong hand. 6 and 7 is draw, 2 on 6, 2 on 7. You do that 4 times. Number 8 is from the ready position, 5 shots weak hand. And 9 and 10 is draw, 1 on 9, speed reload, 1 on 10, 3 times. So there's a couple variations of this out floating around. This is just the standard dot torture. There is another one designed for traditional double actions or TDAs. That's the one I normally shoot with things like my PO1 and my Beretta. And then there's a new one that I haven't printed out yet that is supposed to take 30 rounds to do versus 50. So there is that. And when I print those out and remember to do it, I'll post a short video or something up and let you guys see that. So I'm not going to shoot this one today just because I just did one of these the other day and I didn't bring that much ammo out with me, but definitely worth doing. Guys, starting distance on this is going to be 3 yards. Now I know that seems easy, but a lot of people that have done this are probably starting to laugh. This is a very challenging drill, and it's one that can help you a lot with your fundamentals. So it's not so much about time pressure, but it is very intensive on your fundamentals and the application thereof. So if you haven't shot a dot torture, I would recommend doing it. Start it at 3 yards. Once you completely clean the drill at 3 yards, move it to 4. And then from 4, move it to 5. And if you clean it at 5, you're doing things I can't do. So there is that. More power to you. So I have some friends that can clean it at 7. Trying to get like those folks. But anyway, definitely a good one to work on your fundamentals. This next one I kind of feel bad about bringing up because I know not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to shoot somewhere where you can do these drills. So reload drills, the statistical likelihood of needing a reload is fairly low. Now don't take that and just say, oh well, I don't need to practice it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, depending on your lifestyle, your environment, your firearm, your shooting proficiency. Make that decision for yourself. I, for one, it's a skill associated with shooting. I want to be as good at it as I can be, which means I practice it. So a reload drill, I don't know if there's another name for it. I just call it a reload drill. 2 rounds, 1 round in the gun, empty magazine, and then a spare magazine. And then so you fire 1, reload, fire 1. And just getting to the point where you can not only do the reload smoothly and quickly, but also get both shots on target, I think is important. So we're going to shoot this from a whopping 4 yards just because I got the camera set up. And for those of you just tuning in, my range is on the hill, so getting the camera set up is often one of the biggest challenges I face. So anyway, without further ado, we'll get to it. So 5.79, pretty long draw to first shot at 2 seconds, and that's it in a nutshell. So the beauty of it is it takes 2 rounds, and I don't know if you can see that, both of them are in the red, one's in the X ring, one's in the 10 ring. Only takes 2 rounds to do this drill, so you can get quite a bit of practice with not quite a bit of ammo. So we'll do it again. .39. And one more time. .28. Trying to get that first shot time down. I'm having a hard time getting that dot lined up today, which is going to play in nice to our next drill. We'll do one more rep. Alright, 5.62. So, obviously I haven't been doing the reload drills the way that I should. For the next drill, we're just going to leave that target up there. For this is going to be draw to first shot. Again, I know you may or may not be able to do this at your range, and if you can't, perhaps a modification on that. You know, you can get a lot with your presentation from the holster done with dry fire at home, but a modification to that could be starting at something like low ready and coming up. I don't know, whatever's going to work for you. But that draw to first shot is, it's one of those things where it's either not practiced enough or it's practiced and that's the stopping point, right? you can get that one shot off real good, but maybe your split times suck because you haven't practiced anything with recoil management and trigger reset and things like that. So it is part of a skill set, arguably one of the more important parts, because, well, if you need your gun, that first shot, getting the gun out and getting that first shot off, well, that's where it starts. So it's a good one. It's a great one. It's an absolutely necessary one. So again, 1 round per rep on this drill. It's kind of hard to beat that in terms of live fire training. So here we go. One 9-1. 1-7-3. 1-9-0. I'm running slow. I try to be at the 1.5 second mark. Still recovering from a bit of a wrist injury. If you want to know more about that, there will be a link in the description. We got 3 more rounds. We'll just go ahead and clean this out. One 8-3. 1-8-1. 1-6-2. So we'll go take a look at the target. Keep in mind this is several reps of reload drills and several draw to first shot drills. And this is another target you can print out at home. So there we are, folks. We got 1 over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so there it is. This is a B8 style, so it's not a true B8 target. It's a little bit smaller. You can get it with or without the red in the center. I like the red just because it helps me a little bit. Give me something to aim at. This is what I use for sight gun rifles and things like that too. But you can print these out for free at targetsforfree.com. There'll be a link in the description though. So there you go, guys. You'll notice that one common recurring theme during these drills was that beep and those times. You get those from using something like this. Now this is a shot timer. For those of you that aren't aware, I don't mean to come across as talking down to you or anything like that. We all started at the bottom with the firearms hobby. These are great. I would argue that if you're interested in performance-based shooting, if you're interested in having an objective standard, because there are drills and things like that out there that have par times, times to beat, that a reasonably competent shooter should be able to clear that drill in X amount of time. You're not going to know how close you are to those standards without this. So the timer doesn't lie. The timer gives you numbers. Sometimes I look at the numbers and I basically see you suck because, well, times were not good. So given accuracy versus time, 100% of the time, I'm going to go with accuracy. But speed is important. Having an objective qualifier like a shot timer is very important to getting to those levels of proficiency and giving you a benchmark, figuring out where you need to improve. So for instance, my last one here was 1.62 seconds draw to first shot. I want to be at or under 1.5. So I know that I need to shave 0.12 seconds off to reach that goal. So having the camera rolling normally from a frontal angle, I can go back and say, okay, so this is where it cost me time. I need to practice clearing my shirt, or I need to practice whatever. And a lot of that can be remedied with dry fire, but knowing what you're doing wrong, knowing how close you are to those standards or to those goals is very important. So I would argue that if you are like me and you bought ammo and you're just kind of sitting on what you got and not paying today's prices, well, take what you would normally spend on ammo and invest in one of these. There's a variety of makes and models out there. This is the only one that I have enough experience with to give you a recommendation on. It has held up great. This is the packed, I believe it's the Club 3. I will find out and drop a link in the description where you can grab one of these. This thing has been used, abused, dropped, beat up, crawled on. I have used it hard and it's still going strong. The beep is good and audible. I don't really have an issue like shooting at an outdoor range with multiple bays. It doesn't really seem to pick up other people shooting, on the other side of the berm or whatever. It tends to work good if you're timing a buddy or working with yourself or having them time you. It's been pretty darn easy to use. I will say the beep is very loud. My dog does not like the beep, so for dry fire in the house, I use an app on my smartphone that doesn't send the dog into nervous breakdown mode. Also, this one does not pick up the sound of a striker fired gun going click during dry fire. It does, however, pick up the sound of my Beretta going click with that hammer, a little bit louder than the striker. So keep that in mind as well. As far as the apps on the phones go, I don't have enough experience with those to recommend a certain one versus a different one. I use a free one for my dry fire exercise, so there is that. But I would absolutely argue that this is a piece of shooting gear that would serve you very, very well. It's an objective standard, and without objective standards, what are we really doing, right? So there's that. I don't tend to say you should buy things recklessly, because, well, we're all in different financial situations, and there's things that you might view as necessary to shooting that I can't afford, and vice versa. But these are not all that expensive in the big scheme of things. I'll put it to you this way: you can get them cheaper than you used to be able to get 1,000 rounds of 9mm 2019 and back. So there is that. If you're on the fence about getting one, I really do think they're important. This is something I use when I'm working with new shooters, once we get the fundamentals down, to kind of temper that ego. Once we start getting hits where they need to be, this kind of shows where we want to be and where we're actually at, and it comes in handy for doing the same thing with myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm a lot faster, and I look at the timer and, well, I'm not. So that's enough harping on that. If you're thinking about getting one, get one. If you don't think you need one, well, then I guess we'll agree to disagree on the timers, and you can lump me in the camp of literally every qualified shooting instructor that uses these. So there is that. Guys, stay safe. If you're getting out there and you're getting these drills, and remember, especially if you do like I do and you shoot somewhere fairly isolated and you're out on your own, keep that mental acuity sharp. Stay focused on what you're doing. You have one goal while you're out there, and that is to leave the range with the same number of holes you went to the range. I know we have a lot of people getting into guns and learning right now. I know that the availability of training, it can be hit or miss depending on COVID and things like that. So if you're out there and you're teaching yourself, props. That's pretty good. I'm proud of you for getting out there and putting the effort in, but make sure that you are focused on the task at hand. Remember that this is a very enjoyable hobby, a very enjoyable thing to do, but it is inherently dangerous. So stay focused on what you're doing, keep your mind sharp, all that good stuff. That's enough of my fatherly advice right now. But keep practicing, have fun with it, and stay safe while you do it. I'll see you next time.